I'm Joe Sandwright Callender, the author of the Happy Little Garbage Truck picture book, and it's actually a picture book-based educational program which teaches children literacy skills as well as social skills. And this week we've been talking about video modeling. The entire concept that I'm working towards having children become is have more self-esteem, become better students. And it's interesting because in my work as a teacher for 27 years, I've always looked to find what could motivate a child to want to learn. And the two things that kept becoming more and more apparent to me was one, feeling good about themselves, self-esteem, which came from just knowing the right social cues and how to behave with their peers, how to have friends and gain friends, and also the academic part, having a really good understanding of their knowing how to read, knowing what their schoolwork consists of and what was expected of them. So it was also um, an interesting thing to me to see that academics and social skills or self-esteem were almost equally important. But I thought the foundation of everything began with how a child felt about themselves. And so I'm doing a lot of research on the topics that we'll be talking about that reflect the self-esteem building of a child. So we're talking about video modeling since the last couple of days, as well to as a way to teach children social skills. And so yesterday I mentioned that social skills helps a child, and video modeling in particular, helps a child participate more fully in their community. And I thought I'd first talk about how does that look? What does that look like? First, there's the interactive social engagement with their peers, knowing how to engage in appropriate ways, showing empathy, asking questions, as we talked about with Mr. Lavoie's video. Asking questions is a skill that children with specific learning disabilities have difficulties with, as well as children with autism. Social understanding, that's something that has to do with sharing focus. Like if a person were to point in a direction, a child with autism may not look over to where they're pointing because they don't understand that social cue. So it's nonverbal skill building as well as turn taking, which we spent a lot of time in the classroom trying to develop that ability to let the child know it's my turn, your turn. Safety skills, extremely important, and video modeling can help teach that skill. Pedestrian crossings. We did even at one school a bike fair where we had the corners marked out to show the child where to stop. And if you video model that in your home, just like cordoning off certain sections to be the street and to be the corners and make a fake stop sign, just to practice it and show the child what was the appropriate way of approaching a corner. Academic performance is another area. The classroom behavior, raising their hand, coming in appropriately, sitting quietly in the circle time, as well as the behavior on the playground. And I spoke often about one little boy who did not play well on the playground, and we created a social story for him to know what is the appropriate way to interact with his friends. And it really helped so much that when I forgot to show him his social story, that one day his friends, his peer buddies brought him in and said, he needs to hear that story. So when you do the video modeling, the child can actually see themselves engaged in with their friends in an appropriate way. Imaginative play is another area that can be videotaped and video modeled. And we've done this in our classroom a lot of times, and it could be done in home. But we had a play, and the child took on the role of the character dressed in the costume. And this is one way, it's sort of like a structured imaginative play activity, but it could be done also with being video modeled. So they could say, okay, when you were this character, you had to do certain things. And it's really a lot of fun for the children to look at their performances on the video as they're being videoed and afterwards. There's also community vocational skills that can be video modeled. That's going to the store, purchasing items. And as a child gets older and is about to go into their late teens, I found that there are bridge programs that help children um, function in the community appropriately. And this can be done with video modeling to show them what is the appropriate way to approach a counter and a clerk. And there are just so many different ways that you can show. And we're going to talk about how these different types of video modeling can be done in a bit, or maybe perhaps tomorrow. But the final one that I wanted to get to today was emotional regulation. And that's the video modeling that I focused on mostly in my classroom. And I was showing the student the way that they usually approach a problem, which was inappropriate and not okay, and the appropriate way to reflect their anger or to express their anger. And so video modeling helps in each one of these areas, and those are the ways in which the student can participate more appropriately in an environment that is societal, community, the home. So tomorrow we're going to talk about more specifically the types of video modeling that one can do. And they each have a specific purpose as well. And then we'll talk about some tips, maybe 5 tips when you're videoing your child. And for teachers, always that you cannot do this without the permission of the parents. And the video modeling that you do is only for instructional purposes. It's not to be put on your live stream or your social platform. As we all know, it's not an appropriate thing to do. So until tomorrow, I will hope that you have a great day, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.